The NHL free agency period is approaching fast, and this year there is significant attention on some of the league's top restricted free agents, RFAs. Restricted free agents are players who have completed their entry-level contracts but do not yet qualify for unrestricted free agency. An RFA's current team has the right to match any offer sheet made for the RFA. If the team does not match the offer sheet, they can receive draft pick compensation. Several of the best potential restricted free agents of 2025 have signed already. Alexis Lafreniere signed with the Rangers for around $7.5 million for 7 years. Jake Ottinger signed with the Dallas Stars for around $8 million for 8 years. Brock Faber signed with the Wild for $8.5 million over 8 years, and Dylan Guenther signed with Utah for $7 million over 8 years. Despite this, there are still plenty of intriguing players who remain restricted free agents heading into next season. In this video, we'll delve into the top 10 RFAs, analyzing their performances and speculating on what their next contracts might look like. Will teams lock up their RFAs long term? Will we see some offer sheets being made, or will we see some blockbuster trades? At the end of this video, I will present a list of notable RFAs I left out of my top 10 list. Let's jump in. 10. Mason McTavish. Mason McTavish is a 22-year-old center playing for the Anaheim Ducks. Last season, McTavish put up 52 points with 22 goals in 76 games. He is a young center who was drafted 3rd overall by the Anaheim Ducks in 2021. He is described as a defensively sound player with a nose for the net and high potential, who is key for Anaheim's future. In April, McTavish said about talks, "Nothing yet. I'm sure it'll kind of happen as the summer goes on. Obviously, I love it here, and hopefully I can stay here." In a June 17th interview, Anaheim Ducks GM Pat Verbeek confirmed he still has not talked to McTavish's camp. An offer sheet for McTavish is unlikely to happen. As one fan states, it's going to take a ridiculous offer sheet with 4+ first-round picks coming back for the Ducks not to want to match with the $25 million plus in cap space they have. It'd be a lose-lose situation for both teams, so it's highly unlikely to happen. However, there is always the possibility that Mason McTavish gets traded. McTavish's name has already appeared on Greg Wyshynski's 2024-25 NHL Trade Tiers Big Board. Justin Ehrenberg suggests a trade where the Leafs acquire McTavish and the Ducks get Nicholas Robertson, Ben Danford, Kalle Järnkrok, a 2025 second-round pick, and a 2026 third-round pick. However, this trade only makes sense if John Tavares doesn't return as the team's second-line center. Jacob Fraser suggests the Canucks could acquire McTavish by trading their 2025 first-round pick, Niels Höglander, and their 2026 second-round pick for him. McTavish was previously making around $900,000 a year and is due for a considerable raise. One comparable contract to McTavish could be Quinton Byfield's 5-year extension in Los Angeles, which carries a $6.25 million average annual value. One estimate has McTavish making $6.7 million over 6 years. 9. Bowen Byram. Bowen Byram is a 24-year-old left-shot defenseman for the Buffalo Sabres. Last season, Byram put up 38 points with 7 goals in 82 games. He is described as a consistent defender who leads by example through his play. Rumors about a potential Bowen Byram trade have been swirling. NHL insider Elliot Friedman has said that there is no doubt that Byram's name is out there. According to Rick Dallowall, multiple Western Conference teams are monitoring Byram's status. One team that could potentially be interested in Byram is the Vancouver Canucks. If Quinn Hughes decides to move on from the Canucks to reunite with his brothers in New Jersey, Byram could stabilize the back end. The Philadelphia Flyers are another team that could be interested in Byram. The Flyers are also reportedly interested in J.J. Pitka of the Sabres. If the Flyers did trade for Byram, RFA defenseman Cam York could be a trade chip. The Calgary Flames could pair a player like Byram with 2024 first-rounder Zane Parekh. He could also run Calgary's top power play. One fan writes about a potential Byram trade to the Flames. This is no longer the player that broke in with Colorado, and he is not the player that made a name for himself with the Giants. Byram should not be a target for Calgary. The Athletic also suggests the San Jose Sharks, Columbus Blue Jackets, New York Rangers, Detroit Red Wings, Los Angeles Kings, and Carolina Hurricanes as potential Byram trade destinations. Byram's previous contract was $3.8 million a year. One estimate has Byram making $7 million over 5 years. Another estimate has him making $8 million a year over 8 years, with a potential bridge deal coming in at $5.4 million per year over 2 years. 8. Morgan Geekie. Morgan Geekie is a 26-year-old center for the Bruins. Last season, Geekie put up 57 points with 33 goals in 77 games. He is described as a solid center with good production. Geekie hopes to re-sign with the Boston Bruins, stating, "Obviously, both of us, the organization and me, are happy to continue our employment together." However, Geekie admits contract talks have been pretty preliminary so far. Geekie stated, "I love playing in Boston and would love to be there as long as I can. I'm super hopeful it will be sorted out, but the Bruins are busy with a high pick in the draft, and there's free agents to be had. I think for me, it's more a matter of when. I guess it's going to happen when it happens, and I'm not putting too much pressure on it." One estimate has Geekie making $6.5 million over 4 years. Another estimate has him signing at $5 million over 6 years. His previous salary was $2 million a year. 7. Gabriel Valardi. Gabriel Valardi is a 25-year-old forward for the Jets. Last season, Valardi put up 61 points with 27 goals in 71 games. He is described as a consistent center with strong scoring who is valuable for Winnipeg's lineup. On his contract situation, Vilardi says, "I haven't spent any time thinking about it honestly. I just kind of was playing, and then I think the last few days, like I said, I've been kind of trying to enjoy hanging out with my teammates and enjoy being here for last till I leave. And contract will happen whenever it happens in the summer." The most likely scenario for Vilardi is that he stays in Winnipeg, where he was a crucial part of the team's power play. An article by Brian Logan proposes the Utah Mammoth could offer Sheet Vilardi. On the Mammoth, Vilardi could join the top power play unit with Clayton Keller and Dylan Guenther and could move up and down the top 6. One estimate has Vilardi making $7 million over 4 years. Vilardi was previously making around $3.4 million a year. 6. Noah Dobson. Noah Dobson is a 25-year-old right-shot defenseman for the New York Islanders. Last season, Dobson put up 39 points with 10 goals in 71 games. He is described as a solid defenseman for the Islanders. The New York Islanders are reportedly testing the market on Dobson right now. As Elliot Friedman says, "I've had a few people tell me that Dobson is the guy to really keep an eye on." The Detroit Red Wings could be a potential team interested in Dobson. The Red Wings could leverage players like J.T. Compher, Jonathan Berggren, and draft picks for Dobson. One fan proposes Noah Dobson be traded for the Utah Mammoth's 4th overall pick in this year's draft. On the Mammoth, Dobson could play with Mikhail Sergachev on the top pairing. Another fan proposes trading Dobson to the Sabres for pending RFA J.J. Pitka. Adding Noah Dobson to the Sabres' blue line of Rasmus Dahlin, Bowen Byram, and Owen Power would make it pretty stacked. One fan says Carolina should acquire Dobson, writing, "Noah Dobson 10x8 next to Slavin for 8 years would be something special. Then just go get Ehlers, and you really could call it a day." A final fan proposes a Dobson and Pageau trade to the Boston Bruins in return for a 2025 first-round pick and a 2026 first-round pick. If one thing is for certain, Dobson is going to make a lot of money this summer. One estimate has Dobson making $10 million over 8 years. One Reddit poster even claimed Dobson could sign for $11 million per year. He was previously making $4 million 5. Evan Bouchard. Evan Bouchard is a 25-year-old right-shot defenseman for the Oilers. Last season, Bousard put up 67 points with 14 goals in 82 games. He is described as a top defenseman with high offensive output who is crucial for Edmonton's blue line. It is highly likely Bousard stays with the Edmonton Oilers. Bousard stated, "I love being here. You want to bring a cup to Edmonton. You've put so much into the organization and you want to be rewarded. You want to reward the fans for all the times they're coming out to support us. We're so close." Bouchard's teammate Connor McDavid added, "He's incredibly important to the group. It's a deal that needs to get done. And every time there's a big game or a big moment, he shows up. That's a skill that not everybody has. Does he make some boo-boos in November? Sure, we all do. I think his game has just been improving year after year. I think he took big strides this year, defensively." Bousard is another player that is going to make a lot of money this summer. One estimate has Bousard making $10.8 million over 8 years. Martin Byron says paying $10 million plus for Bousard is worth it for his performance and the cap going up. Bousard was previously making around $4 million a year. 4. Luke Hughes. Luke Hughes is a left-shot defenseman for the New Jersey Devils. Last season, Hughes put up 44 points with 7 goals in 71 games. He is described as a very young defenseman with significant upside who improved on his defensive game this season. New Jersey general manager Tom Fitzgerald says re-signing Hughes is a top priority for him, stating, "Talks have started, but you're talking to the same agents about other players on the team, like Simon Nemec and others they represent, and of course it's a priority. We're just trying to figure out what's best for Luke and for us, and how do we make our team better with the funds that we have available. We've only got so much cap space, and we've got to figure out strategically how we can better our team on trades, the market, and what cap space we have available, while also thinking what we can allocate towards a great young player. Both parties are in agreement. We're going to get this done." One fan writes about Hughes, "Realistically, the only way Luke isn't back is if a team goes crazy and offers Sheets something absolutely mad. We're talking significant overpay. Given team dynamics and Luke's ceiling, I'm pretty sure we'd match an overpay in a heartbeat. Imo Luke is in Jack, Nico, and Brat levels of must keep. Realistically, there's no way he isn't here next season. The expectation should be that Luke signs here for a very long time." Hughes was previously making around $925,000 and is due for a raise. One estimate has Hughes making $8 million over 6 years. Another estimate has him making $7 million over 4 years. 3. Matthew Knies. Matthew Knies is a 22-year-old forward for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Last season, Knies put up 58 points with 29 goals in 78 games. He is described as a young and promising left winger and a part of Toronto's core. Knies wants to stay in Toronto. He stated, "I want to be here. I want to play here. That's all that really matters to me. There's really a chance to win here, and the guys in the room to win." Leafs GM Brad Treliving has also expressed a desire to keep Knies, saying, "I think Matthew is just scratching the surface. We will see what fits for us and what fits for them. I see him as a long-term player here. We have to see." However, the Leafs and Knies are reportedly far apart in contract talks. According to Nick Alberga, with the NHL draft just around the corner and July 1st looming, I'm told the Leafs and Matthew Knies are currently far apart in contract talks. That said, both sides remain optimistic on finding common ground in the coming weeks. Knies is listed as Frank Saravalli's top potential 2025 offer sheet candidate. Saravalli proposes an $11+ million a year over 5-year offer sheet for Knies. However, teams would have to give up 2 firsts, a second, and a 3rd round pick to make this work, and only a handful of teams even have the ability to offer sheet the player. This means it is highly unlikely Knies gets offer sheeted this summer. One fan says about Knies, He absolutely has to be a core part of this team's future. He hasn't even reached his prime, and he's already one of our most impactful players. Another fan says, Knees is the priority over both Tavares and Marner, unfortunately. I'm not saying he's the best of the three, but his style is the hardest to develop and trade for. Knees is due for a raise up from his previous $925,000 a year contract. One estimate has Knees making $7 million over 7 years. Another estimate has him signing for $4.5 to $6.5 million over 4 to 6 years. According to NHL insider Darren Dreger, Knees could sign a bridge deal. One estimate for a Knees bridge deal is $3.75 million a year for 3 years. To Marco Rossi. Marco Rossi is a 23-year-old center for the Minnesota Wild who was previously making around $800,000 a year. Last season, Rossi put up 60 points with 24 goals in 82 games. He is described as a young center with potential who is a consistent performer for Minnesota. Rossi's contract demands are reportedly quickly becoming an issue for the Wild. He is reportedly asking for $7 million over 7 years, but the team reportedly only wants to pay him $5 million over 5 years. The Pittsburgh Penguins could be one team interested in Marco Rossi. The Penguins would likely have to give up a player like Tristan Broz and draft picks to acquire Rossi. The Philadelphia Flyers could be another potential landing spot for Rossi. They could potentially trade a player like Tyson Foerster and a first-round pick for Rossi. The Vancouver Canucks reportedly made a trade offer for Rossi, proposing giving up their 15th overall draft pick in the NHL entry draft, plus a player. However, the Wild declined the package. The Buffalo Sabres could potentially trade one of their restricted free agents, such as Bowen Byram or JJ Pitka, for Rossi. The Chicago Blackhawks have been linked to Rossi. One fan proposes a deal where Spurgeon and Rossi are traded to the Blackhawks in exchange for Connor Murphy, Jason Dickinson, a 2026 first-round pick, and a 2025 second-round pick. The Seattle Kraken have also been linked to Rossi. One fan proposes a Marco Rossi for Matthew Benier's trade. A different fan proposes trading Marco Rossi and a 2026 third-round pick to the Boston Bruins in exchange for Casey Middlestat, Matthew Poitras, and a 2026 first-round pick. One J.J. Pitka. John Jason Pitka is a 23-year-old left wing playing for Buffalo. Last season, Pitka put up 68 points with 27 goals in 77 games. He is described as a player who showcases strong offensive prowess as a right winger with plenty of upside. Pitka leads all players on this list with the highest points per game. Trade rumors about Pitka have been ramping up recently. NHL insider Elliot Friedman has said the Sabres are taking calls on Pitka and that he is unhappy in Buffalo. Insider Frank Saravalli lists Pitka as his #1 trade target. If the Sabres trade Pitka, they could get a top pick in this year's draft, prospects, or proven talent to improve the team. The Islanders could be one team in the mix for Pitka. One fan proposes a Pitka for Noah Dobson trade between the Sabres and Islanders. The Blackhawks are another team that has been linked to Pitka. Pitka could play alongside Connor Bedard on the team. The Lightning are yet another team that has been linked to Pitka. Some players the Lightning could trade to the make the deal happen are Oliver Bjorkstrand and Isaac Howard. The Canucks have reportedly gone as far as to call the Sabres about Pitka. According to Frank Saravalli, Vancouver is one of the teams that's been closely following and has called the Sabres on the JJ Pitka file. The Rangers are apparently a team that is in the mix for Pitka as well. They could potentially move pieces like Braden Schneider, Carson Soucy, Arthur Kaliev, and Brennan Othman to get a deal done. Sammy Silber proposes the Capitals make a trade for Pitka. The Capitals could fill the gap left by their departing free agents and could prepare for the post-Alex Ovechkin era. The Pittsburgh Penguins could be another team calling about Pitka as they look to get younger. they could offer valuable trade pieces such as Rickard Raquel, Brian Rust, and Erik Karlsson for a player like Pitka. The Flyers are reportedly interested in Pitka. However, Scott Cole says the Flyers should not pursue Pitka because the Flyers already have enough right-wingers. The Columbus Blue Jackets reportedly contacted the Sabres about Pitka. They have the 14th and 20th overall picks in the draft, as well as players such as Cole Sillinger and Jordan Harris, who could be used to trade for Pitka. Zach Martin proposes the Hurricanes as a destination for Pitka. The Hurricanes have draft picks, as well as players like Jesperi Kotkaniemi or Jackson Blake they could use to trade for Pitka. Arif Dean proposes a one-for-one trade for Pitka between the Colorado Avalanche and Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres would receive Martin Necas, and the Avalanche would receive Pitka. The Minnesota Wild could also do a one-for-one trade for Pitka by letting go of restricted free agent Marco Rossi. There are also rumors Pitka could be the target of a massive offer sheet. Frank Saravalli predicts an offer sheet of $9 million a year over 2 years could be made for Pitka. Any team making this offer sheet would need to give up their 2026 first, 2026 second, and 2026 third-round picks as compensation for the Sabres. The only teams that could reasonably make an offer sheet like this, considering the salary cap, are Boston, Calgary, Chicago, Detroit, Los Angeles, Nashville, Philadelphia, Seattle, and Utah. Now, let's talk a little bit about Petterka's contract. Pitka will be getting a significant raise up from his previous $855,834 a year. One estimate has Pitka making around $7.8 million over 7 years. However, other estimates say he could sign for up to $8 or $9 million. So that concludes my top 10 list of restricted free agents of 2025. Other notable restricted free agents this year include K'Andre Miller, Capo Kakko, Ryan McLeod, Dmitry Voronkov, Simon Holmstrom, and Will Koila. So who do you think the top restricted free agent of 2025 is? Do you think we'll see any offer sheets this year? Let me know in the comments below. Like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want more hockey content. Thank you very much.